ואיבה שיסחulu hu yishuvcha chulu. And I will place hatred between you and the snake. He will attack you with his head, and you'll attack him with your heel. Perekama de Sota Daf Tesamud Beis. What does it say there? V'chein b'nachash hakadmoni shenosan inav b'mashe inu roilo. That the primordial snake turned his eyes towards something that wasn't fitting for him. Rashi says, Nosan inav b'chava, that this refers to the snake Ain Chava, and had his way with her. It says, the snake convinced me. But the word Hishiani Lashon Tashmish Vinesuinhu. It's a language of intimacy and marriage. Look what it says in the verse, that you'll engage yourself to a woman, and another man will lie with her. Just like you have engagement in marriage and holiness, so too it says here that you'll get engaged to a woman, and the ishacher, and you have the other man, meaning to say the one that's not in kedusha. So, but I mean, the way to read this pasuk on the other side is isha te'aras v'ishacher yishkavena. So both of these things are happening from the ishacher, both the te'aras and the yishkavena, both the erusin and the nisuin. K'moshikaz b'likutei Torah b'dibur hamaskil ein kol. Ken yish erusin l'umazeh hamshachas osius shel hayitzer harachulu. So to the getting engaged, and on the other side is drawing down the letters from the Yitzer Hara. So I guess you'd have to look over there to see that idea, but I guess getting engaged is also a matter of words and not actions. Betrothal, so it's also letters. So it could be drawing down holiness, or it could be drawing down from the other side. B'chinas makif. Anyways, it's an accompanying concept like the chuppah or the ring. And then when you have the internal flow, that's called the marriage itself. So you have the makif and the pnimi. B'dibur hamaskil shvora ani v'nava v'likutei Torah b'shir hashirim drush hasheni b'dibur hamaskil Torah tziva. Look over there. Mikal zayuvin l'hepech inyan hanachash shishiani. So if you have it in kedusha, now you can understand it also on the other side. V'ayin biorei azor pashas chukas al pasuk kein derech isha min ha'efes. V'ayin mashikasu b'torah or pashas Beraishis. Sof dibur hamaskil inyan habrachos b'inyan chava. All Ma'ar Mekomos. V'sham inyan habracha achrona shel nesuin asher yatzer es adam tzarich lios b'chusim bebaruch shelo yikrav zar. So we see by the last bracha of the marriage, we say asher yatzer es adam. We have this bracha about Adam that we're talking about here, and we seal it with a bracha in order so that there can't be a stranger drawing close to this. So we see that there's a concern about the nesuin, that there could be such a thing, so that we don't have the snake taking part in this. So the Medrash continues, the Agada continues about the snake that he desired something that didn't belong to him. He saw something he didn't belong to. What he desired was not given to him. And what he had was taken from him, which was standing up straight. That he should walk on his stomach, go on his stomach. Prsha Shmini. Who Amar Erog es Adam es Aschar. He said, I'm going to kill Adam and I'll marry Chava. Meaning to say, the Medrash continues and says, this is what he said. Achshav Eva Ashis beincha uvein ha'isha. So now I'll place this hatred between you and the woman. So uvein zaracha uvein zara, between her children and your children, so that you won't marry her, or even in the future. So if that's the case, so this not desiring the wife of your fellow is like the concept of the primordial snake. And we can explain the concept of the hatred between your children and her children. It says that the Rashi Tevos of Eschan and Halavaya, and at that time, I prayed to Hashem at that time, is the Rashi Tevos of hatred. Because through the concept of the supplications of Moshe, which are 515 prayers, which is the concept of 15 Yud-K into the 500, which is the tree of life. And through this, he'll attack you with his head. Or he will kill you on your head. And you can say, we attack the snakes on their head. So that's the tree of life. It's the opposite of the snake, which was the tree of knowledge. If we're drawing down to the Eitz Chaim, I guess we're metaking the Eitz Hadas. Ve'eva. Ki hine ein Hashem shalim chulu. So the name is not complete until we wipe out the children of Amalek. So we see the hatred between the children of the snake. If Amalek is the snake, so the children of the snake is Amalek. We have to wipe them out. Shu inyan mishorish nachash, that they're rooted from the snake. Therefore, it says by them, those that were tripping up behind you. Nechashalim is from the language Nachash. Nachash, Mila. Nechashalim is made of the two words Nachash and Mila, the snake and the Mila. Zeu hanechashalim, I guess the negative concept of the snake is like the Mila. It's like the Orel in comparison to the Mohul. And through the drawing down Yud-K, making the name complete, then we wipe them out. And that's why these Rashi Tevos of Eschanan is an hatred. That is the hatred towards the evil inclination. Nikra Amalek, Lashon Umalek es Roshul. It's from, which is called Amalek, in the snake. And it says, what's Amalek? Amalek is from the language Malika, of cutting off the head, which is what we do to the snake. We attack it on its head. Al derech al derech ohavei havaya sinura. Like it says, those who love Hashem hate the bad. So we see a concept of Eiva against the bad from the love of Hashem. We're talking about the complete name. If you love the name, so you have a hatred towards the bad. So too, when Yosef said to them on the third day is the same Rashi Tevos and hatred. Because when you have the concept of the third day, it's the idea of that so I'll enliven him for 2 days, and on the third days I'll establish him and keep him going. So this can either refer to 2 days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, or it refers to the third day, meaning the final redemption. V'nei Eiva Ashis Badar Ha'ir Rashi Tevos Eiva. I'm sorry. V'hinei Eicha Yoshva Badar Ha'ir Rashi Tevos Eiva. So too, beginning of Eicha, how forlorn the city sat is also the Rashi Tevos of hatred. Shanachash Garam Lezeh, because the snake caused this. And you will, you will be attacked by the heel, or he'll attack you by the heel. Meaning to say that the snake's attack on your heel is like the destruction of Yerushalayim. I'm not sure how the heel corresponds with the city, but that's the inyan. Be'ezor chelik aleph pashas chaye taf kuf kaf talar meralef begin the chavia gari mosa be'alma lekola. It says in Zohar Chaye, Sarah, that because the snake caused death for the world, for everybody, Vestav Alma, and the world became impure, Veschashech Anpoi, and the faces became darkened because of it. What it says there about this concept of the snake, brings there this pasuk that I'll place hatred between you and the woman. My ve'eva. What's this concept of hatred? Dichsiv kedichsiv chalfu im onios eve. That they passed through with these boats of desire or whatever. Like pirate ships or whatever. That how many boats traverse the Great Sea. And look what it says in Zohar B'Shalach, that these boats are the garments that are created from the mitzvahs that we do, that through them we are elevated, the neshama is elevated into the sea of wisdom, meaning to say we're able to go to the sea of wisdom and, so to speak, float there, traverse there with these boats, these garments that you did for your mitzvahs. Alma diskasya, which is this hidden world, which is like the ocean, vis arbin svinin misfarshan daminda, and there's these different boats that are different one from the other, different mitzvahs, different zechuyos. Look what it says about boats, with the concept of the burial of Moshe, that's where the portion of mechokek is safun. The word safun is also from the language of sfina. That Moshe's hidden place is compared to a boat. And those boats that the Nachash traverses with, those are called the onios eveh. the, so to speak, pirate ships, the negative ships. That is to say, on the other side, it's the thought and the speech that comes from the evil inclination. Just like you have the garments in holiness that conduct you, so too there's these garments of thought and speech that could conduct you in a negative way. That surround and enclose the soul, and these are called these boats of Eveh. Beincha uvein ha'isha, between you and the woman, da isha yiras havayu. This is the woman of fear of Hashem. So, the hatred of the snake, of the bad inclination, is directly against that. Your bad desires are, so to speak, opposite to your fear of Hashem. And look what it says about this idea of a woman who fears Hashem should be praised. He will attack the snake with on his head. That refers to the Holy One, blessed be He who will do this. The Zamin min Alma, who's in the future will extirpate him from the world. Like the pasuk says that death will be swallowed forever. And it says the spirit of impurity will wipe away from the earth. If the snake will bite below lachash without the snake charmer or whatever. The head, this refers to the time to come when the dead will be awakened. The hakadein lahavi alma rosh. Then, at that time, the world will be a head. The skayim berosh diu alma ilah, because it will be established at the head, meaning on the top. That is to say, the supernal world. So when do you have the concept of the destruction of the snake? Is when you achieve the height of elevation. You're revealing the high heights. That's the Perush and Zohar on this in this context. And we can say that this is similar to the pasuk that says Hashem will be on their head. That you have this concept of revelation of the concept of Rosh, and that gets rid of the bad. And like it says in the menorah of Zechariah, that there's this flow of oil on the top. So the word gula also is the drasha is that it's geula. That the gula on the head means the revelation of this level of the top of the height. And that's the concept of the geula, and which includes getting rid of the bad, opposite to the snake. And you will be attacked from the heel. Now that refers to this world now. You akev, which is the heel. And it will not it will not be established and continue the way it is. That the snake, so to speak, bites the world and darkens the face of creations. Look what it says in the verse, that he did not give his money with usury, with taking interest with the snake bite. We can say that this is actually what's hinted to when we say when we atone for our sins and we say, "And al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'neshech u'v'marbis," on the sin that I sinned against you with the biting and the extra, the usury, and the interest, which is called the snake bite. And this is referring, the snake bite here is referring to the heel, which in the language of our sages is the sins that a person, so to speak, tramples with their heel. The small virus that you don't pay attention to or recognize, that, so to speak, the snake bite, just like interest also is a small amount and you don't realize that it's a snake bite. That caused you to, so to speak, have the snake bite on your heel. That is the bite that the snake bites on the heel. We need to understand the Medrash Rabbah, Parshas Vayera, on the verse when a person desires the ways of a man, the way a person is, even their enemies will make peace with them. Rabbi Shmuel Amar Zeh HaNachash. Rabbi Shmuel says this refers to the snake. Upirish Matnas Kuna Zeh HaNachash Nikra Oyev. That's because the snake is called the enemy, like it says, that I will place hatred between you and her and your children and her children. If so, how can you make peace? How can they make peace with you? If there's, so to speak, this inborn hatred. Nonetheless, the Holy One Blessed Be He can do anything. That's why it says, we can explain this, the Mishnah this way, that if you're davening, and even if a snake is circle around your heel, lo yafsik, you shouldn't stop your davening. So we see this concept of the snake on your heel. And you're not supposed to stop davening. Or that the snake, so to speak, is wrapped around you, together with you. And it shouldn't, and lo yapsik, not just that you shouldn't stop davening, but that it won't be a separation. There'll be an attachment between you and the snake, that you'll, so to speak, be together with the snake, and it'll be wrapped around you. And you'll be able to, so to speak, be at peace together with it. That when Hashem desires you, the snake will be making peace with you. And so you don't have to worry. In And look what it says about those who learn, the learners of Hashem, and the peace is great, the peace of their children. So we have the concept of peace that is explained there, that it'll be great peace. This refers to this concept as well as the enemy, the snake, making peace, like we said. And this is also on Parshas Ekev, on the pasuk, when you listen in the end, or when your heel listens. And our sages said that this refers to a person being careful about sins that a person tramples with their heel. So then also your enemies will make peace with you. This refers to the snake. That you won't have this idea of him attacking you on the heel. We can also understand this, like it says in the Likutei Torah, about Moshe made a copper snake. So we have this copper snake. So what's the copper snake? Mistaklin klapi maila. We're supposed to look towards heaven, not at the snake. V'shora sharahu tov. And the root of the bad is actually good. It's coming from Hashem from above. So you look at the root of the snake and you see the good. When you see that the purpose of the Satan who destroyed the temple and Penina who made Chana cry and daven, they actually had good intentions for heaven. That was their shorish tov. If so, you see the source of good in the snake. Like the concept of it comes and it kisses you on your heel or on your foot. So I guess you're comparing it to its kiss to its bite to actually similar to a concept of a kiss. I guess it's like Esav who so to speak kissed Yaakov or bid him, according to the two Perushim, that there's this concept of the snake bite that can also, so to speak, be turned to a kiss. So you can understand where it says the difference between Maaseh Tzedakah, which is just giving tzedakah, you bring down one revelation, and Avodas Tzedakah, which is going beyond yourself, and that brings down a higher revelation. It's hashkit vetach, meaning you're able to separate the evil downwards. That shalom just is making peace, but hashkit vetach is more than that. It's a concept that, like he says there, like milashon shukit al shmarav, that you separate out the dregs. That there's no longer a possibility. It's not just peace and the enemy is still there, but hashkit v'vetach, you have more of a trust and calmness. Look what it says about we say in Shema that you should teach them to your children. It's from the language of, you should teach them in Aramaic, is from the language of tanin, of a snake, tis nanun, shuhu nachash, which is the snake, sheish b'china zu b'kedusha. And if this is referring to Torah, so that's the snake in Torah, that's in holiness. With this we can understand the concept of he will attack you at the head. So, meaning to say that in Kedusha, then it's the concept of the head again. Because the word shaf is to breathe out through the nostril, so to speak. It's so to speak the act of the snake. The Pirushashi u'kematnes kehuna b'medrasha b'Beraishit Parsha Tezayin shahaya Haman shaf imma kenachash. And I'm not sure what that is. I guess that's on the Maaseh Nachash is Haman, which was going to be with her like a snake. I'm not sure exactly the context. So too in holiness you have this Yishuv is also from the language of the snake. He's connecting the concept of Yishuv Charosh to the word Shaf, which is something the snake does. It's Maaseh Nachash. The hierarchy Knishta the Shaf Yasif Chulu. Look, and you have this concept of the Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel, the basic genesis of Shaf Yasiv, also uses the language Shaf. Megillah Chavtes Aleph. Sham Milashon Shufi. So we can say that the word Shaf there is from the language of plenty. Shu Inyan Shalva v'Hashkit, which also implies peace and contentedness. That shul is a place of peace and contentedness. It's like a concept of geula. the opposite of the snake. The Pirushashi Pirakama the Baba Metzia Daf Tezayin Amar Aleph Gabi Achrayus Vashvi Ashkit. About the concept of a person taking obligation, and it says Vashvi Ashkit, and the words Ashvi and Ashkit are from the language of Shalva and Hashket. Kmo al Har Nishbeh, like it says in Yeshayahu Rish Simin Yud Gimel, on a peaceful mountain. Al Kracha Diosva Shlavia. And if you look in the Targum there, it says it's referring to a city that's sitting peacefully, like, let's say, Yerushalayim. Meaning Yeshuvcha, Korkadencia, Erech Shuf, Erech Shofaf, Erech Shofa. Look over there in Concordancia, I guess there's some connection with explaining the meaning of this word. Zorchel Gimel, Suf Pashas Achre, Dafayin Tes, Umralef al Pasuk Ve'el Isha Binidas Tumasa. So it says in Zohar on a woman in her impurity of Nida, Tachazit, come and see. My Dichsiv, this that it's written, Ve'eva Ashis Beincha Uvein Ha'isha, that I will place hatred between you and the woman. That the concept of the Nida is like the concept of the tumah from the snake and the hatred. Arba Vesrin Zine Misavusa Atil Chavia Benukfa, that there's 24 types of impurity that the snake placed in the feminine. Kad Ischabar Ima, when he was with her, Kechushban Ve'eva, just like the gematria of Ve'eva. Vesrin Ve'arba Zine Dinin Misarin Le'ela, and 24 types of judgments are awakened above. Vesrin Ve'arba Lesata, and 24 below. Ubemeore or us Aleph Suf Sif Sameches Eva Nikra Nukva de Klippa. And in Meore it says that the word Eva, the hatred, refers to the feminine of Klippa. Well, like the concept of Samech Mem is Rochev Nachash. So in that sense, the snake is the feminine. Kaf Daled Sirufim, Kaf Daled Zine Misavusa, which is refers to 24 combinations in the word of letters in the name Eva, which refers to 24 different types of impurity, Dinida. Biyar Nesiv, there in the Me'ore, Hevi Maimar Azor and all. So it brings that Maimar of Zohar we mentioned from Achrei because of Ubekedusha V'yehav Yaakov es Rachel. You have the same words that flip to and he loved. And Yaakov loved Rachel. So Yaakov loving Rachel is the opposite of Eva Ashis. Loving the woman, Yaakov loved the woman. He loved Rachel. Opposite of hatred of the woman. Yehav gematria chavdalid. Rem is kaf dalid kishuti kala. So the gematria of and I loved is 24, not judgments, but decorations for the bride. Kaf dalid sirufei adnai, which is the 24 combinations of the letters of Shem Adnai. Vine bekedusha v'timale kada kaf dalid sifrei deorais. Since it says by Rachel when she gathered water for the camels and so forth, it says she lifted up her vessel, her kad, and Kaf Daled is the 24 books of the Torah, kad miyam hachachma, a picture from the water of the waters of wisdom. B'tikun Zohar tikun kavches daf ein gimel amar aleph v'zel shenu hai kad tiyu shchinta klila mikaf daled sifrin deoraisa. It says this concept of the kad, this picture, which is the shchina, which is, I guess, the feminine concept. I guess the chokhmah ilah is connected to chokhmah tata, because the kad is what's holding the waters of Chokhmah. So the Kad itself is the feminine. Klila Mekaf Daled Sifrin Deoraisa is composed of the 24 books of the Torah. Dat Tzadik, which is the masculine, the concept of Tzadik of Yesod, Nahar, which is the flow of the river. The Nafik Mi Eden Ilah, which flows from the supernal Eden, Ad Kan Lashana, it's the end of the quote from the Tikkun Zohar, that fits right into this idea as well, nicely. Hiviu Hayan Nesiv B'Me'orei Or, Oskaf, Sif Lamedalad, and the Yar Nesiv brings that as well. V'imkein L'chora Hakad Zeu Yisod Nukfa. So if the Kad then is the receptacle of the feminine, Shebo Nimshach Hamayim Mibechinas V'Nahar Yotze Me'eden Chulu, into which flows the water from the concept of the river that comes out of Eden meaning Chokhmah, law, the garden meaning Bina, and so forth. So the Eden being Chokhmah, and the river that flows from it is the flow from Yesod, Abba, I guess, or whatever level. The point is that in the end it needs to go through Yesod into Nukfa. With this, we're going to understand the Gemara in Baba Kama, the beginning, where it says that you place down a jug. The Gemara Mishnah opens with the kad, and it ends that with the chavis, that the chavis broke or whatever. So what's the difference between a kad and a chavis? The isa bepardes erech chavis, hi habina shchinta ilah. The chavis is the higher feminine concept. It's bina, the higher concept of shchina, nikra chavis, as in comparison to the kad, which is a smaller vessel, which would be malchus. L'china hamalchus shchinta data. Therefore, malchus is the lower shchina. She al derech he katana lagabe he gedola nikra kad. That's similar to the concept of the small he of Hashem's name in comparison to the big he of Hashem's name. It would be called a vessel, jug, in comparison to a barrel. Shakad katan mehachavis, that the kad is smaller than the chavis. And you have this concept there of the higher and lower shchina. And that's why the pasuk Baruch Shem, which hints to the lower concept of Shekhinah, as opposed to the pasuk Shema, which has 25 letters. Pasuk Baruch Shem has 24, because it's the concept of Kad, the lower Shekhinah. V'Shema Yisrael Yishbu Chaf Hei Osios. V'Abraham Mehemna Parshas Pinchas Tafresh Mem Hei Amud Beis Shechinta Ilachulu Chavis Ches Bayis Chulu. And in Zohar, in Marai Mehemna Pinchas, in Zohar, it talks about the higher Shekhinah, and there it brings the concept of Chavis, which it translates into Ches Bayis, the Ches and the house. Hainu B'Chochma Yivne Bayis, which is the concept of Ches, is the Chochma, which builds the house. And the house could be the feminine, the malchus, the flow from the higher shkinta to the lower shkinta, or from the chokhmah into the kad. And that's why Yaakov loved, which was Tifer, who corresponds with Tiferes. He loved Rachel shkinta tata, which is the lower shkina. Biyah, which is the source for Bria Yitzirasiyah, the Yehav Gematria kad. And he loved his gematria of Chavtal. That this refers to this flow from Tiferes to the Shechinta Tata, into Olamos. Vainu Kaftal Prakim, the Masechet Shabbos, that which is the 24 chapters of Masechet Shabbos. I guess the concept of Shabbos is also the concept of the Shechina, Shechinta Tata, concept of Yichud, of Zun, the elevation of Rachel, or Anas Talmid Chachim, Friday night, and things like that. that correspond with this concept of Yichud Tiferes and Malchus of Rachel. And what does it mean when the Mishnah says that the Mishnah ended with the word chavis? It, so to speak, it's switched from talking about a kad to a chavis, which meaning to say that it's the concept of Malchus has been elevated from the kad to the chavis, which Malchus has been elevated to bina al derech lo zaz mechavava ad shekara imi, like the statement in the Medrash that the beloved he didn't stop referring to the beloved from saying that she was my daughter to when he called her my mother. The expression changed from daughter or kala to mother, meaning to say that Malchus was elevated to bina, which is imayla. Ukeinyan kosi levaya machzik reish kaf aleph lugin chulu, like the drasha on kosi levaya, that the kos holds gematria revaya, which is 221 lugin of David, the cup of David HaMelech, by the Sudas Livyasan and so forth. So the cup of David is the kad, is the receptacle of Malchus that's receiving the bracha. This is the concept of the cup of savings, because you have the concept of Yeshuos and Reish Kaf Aleph. Looking, there's a whole drasha on how you get from Yeshuos to Reish Kaf Aleph over there. We look about what it says about the idea of the korban mincha of the Kohen Gadol, which are called chavitin. The word chaviti is like the word chavis, the barrel. So this, I guess, this particular korban is also an idea of hamshacha from Sfiras Habina.